even went as far as saying, oh, you're not married, that's why you don't understand. Men, you need to check yourself. It's not the woman that chooses which one she's going to give you. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Essay, and today we're going to be reviewing The Wait. So The Wait is actually a movie that premiered in 2021, but it's now just on Netflix. So we, the diasporans, are just finally watching it after the long wait. So I'm going to be talking about everything I thought about this movie, from the storyline to the technical bits like pictures, sound, location, and all of those good stuff. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So guys, I don't know what to say. I have mixed feelings about this movie. The Wait follows the lives of two couples, a passionate doctor and a job seeker, as they navigate through the difficulties in their life, and they're waiting on God for their big thing. But the focus is on two couples that have different issues. One has been married for 10 years and she's not been able to conceive, and whilst the other, they've been married for a while and she's had 5 miscarriages, and the wife has gotten to the point where she no longer believes in God, because she just feels, how can God that loves her so much allow her go through so much suffering? And then the glue that binds all of these families together is their gynecologist, Dr. Nara, who has a group called the Waiting Room, where essentially they wait on God. They share their pains, their joys, their tribulation. It's kind of like a support group that this doctor hosts in her hospital. Of course, the doctor herself has her own story. She was scammed into a fake marriage, and she's now waiting on God for the right husband. And then of course we have this job seeker who's finished from school and nothing seems to be going right with him. The cast is very, very star-studded. We had a lot of familiar faces: Henshaw, Ikpe, Etim. We have Deyemi, Okanlawon, a fantastic actor. We have Dima-Okojie. I love her. I feel like she's always too intense, but she was in this movie as well. And yeah, there are a number of them. Chimezie, Imo. Every one of them really played their part very, very well, I have to say. When you have all of these stars in a movie, you would not expect anybody to, deliver less than they are supposed to deliver. Everybody delivered. I wouldn't say any of them stood out to me in a way where I'm like, give that person an award or give this person a standing ovation. No, everybody was basically, I don't know what it is, but it was just flat. Flat, not in a bad way, but it was just there. In certain places, I felt like Inedima was overacting. I've said it. I feel personally with her, I really like her because I've watched her progression from skinny girl in transit, but I just feel like sometimes it just seems too dramatic for me. If you feel otherwise, let me know in the comments below. Let's now dig right into some of the technical things that I found very faulty with this movie. To start off, the screen or the picture quality wasn't the best. I'm tempted to forgive them because this movie was produced in 2021. However, we had a lot of great movies that made it onto our screens in 2021 that had way better cinematography and picture quality. The picture quality generally in this movie was very moody, and it made it very difficult for me to actually enjoy the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled to watch it at the very beginning because the picture was not just giving me life. Okay. Another thing that I found not so great watching this movie was the sound. I don't know, maybe if it was my TV or something, but the sound just wasn't 100%. I would say in terms of like all the technical things, cinematography, location, sound, they did nothing for me. I have to be very, very honest. It was very basic. In terms of storytelling, I feel that the story lacked. They focused on too many people's stories. Let me put it like that, because there were 4 key people that we had to focus on. And at the same time, we had to bear in mind that this doctor is the core, right? But she wasn't necessarily the core, if I would say so myself. Like it did not work. I understand that they adapted this movie from a book called The Waiting Room, and it's a personal testimony of the producer or the director, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, about her struggles with trying to conceive a child. And I just feel like some things should just be left as a book. Not everything would make sense as a movie. In terms of entertainment, again, I understand that it's not necessarily a happy-go-lucky type of movie, but it just didn't make, I didn't feel like watching it all the way to the end. I watched it because I was like, okay, I want to see how this thing will pan out, but nobody's story got me, right? In the sense that I wanted to see, I just wasn't in, there was something about it that was lacking. And it's very disappointing because you had a lot of these stars, a lot of A-list actors in this movie, but yet it failed to deliver, right? It was not worth the wait. The way it was rushed. So the beginning, they tried to establish what was happening with the different couples, help us understand that, okay, in couple A, the wife used to be a prayer warrior. She's had 5 miscarriages and now she's not able to continue her faith, but her husband is holding down the fort. I'm like, okay, thumbs up, I get that. But the Dr. Nara story just did not, I just didn't get it. It's not like she has been trying to be in a relationship for so long. There's nothing against you saying I'm waiting on God, but for one, there was no chemistry between her and her new man who was trying to ask her out. It was very, 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 very flat. I have to tell you, like, it was like someone poured cold water on me on that relationship. Someone just took water and poured it on the relationship. There was no spark. There was nothing. The fact that you're waiting on God does not mean that you're not going to get excited about the next brother that might potentially be your husband, if you get what I mean. So for me, it was very, very weak. And the worst of it all is Chimezie Imo's character, the job seeker, the architect guy. At some point, I was like, I don't get it. Was this necessary? I think what they tried to do is they didn't want to heavily focus on the, fertility issue, but did not need to introduce that job seeker character. It did nothing. It was a waste of everybody's time and resources. It was painful for me to watch. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to say, show different situations in life where you have to wait on God and what to do whilst you're waiting. I think they really passed the message across with his character saying, okay, he couldn't get the job of his dreams, but he didn't sit down. He wasn't idle. He was doing Uber. He was trying to form this dance group to help the people in his community. Maybe God wanted him to save the people of his community before he got the job, because if he had just gone straight from uni, gotten the really nice job, he wouldn't have, dug deeper to say, okay, I'm going to create this dancing program to keep people from the street. I get it, but the story just didn't add up. The worst part of it in terms of this storytelling is the way they just went from everything is bad and then we are at the end, happy ending. I knew this movie was going to have a happy ending. I literally, the moment they talk about what they are going through, I know how it's going to end. Oh, you don't want to adopt. In the end, they are going to adopt. Oh, you've been having miscarriages. I know in the end, they are going to have a child. Oh, you're looking for a job. I know you're going to find a job. There was no, it was like, this is the problem. This is the solution. We don't know what to do in the middle. Let's just join it together. I felt like the producers didn't know how to translate the story. There was no journey. It was just, this is the beginning, this is the end. And I don't understand how they were able to do that in 2 hours. Like, it's 2 hours of my life that I cannot take back. The plot in itself is good. It encourages us in our Christian faith, but at least I want to enjoy what I'm watching. Now, it wasn't all bad. There were certain things that I liked about this movie, and I think I might have mentioned it earlier. The key thing I liked about this movie was the fact that they highlighted a lot of issues we as women face with our ability to, give birth. And I think that was like the main message. Let's forget about the love interest and job seeking part. I'm not saying they're not important, but the elephant in the room that they try to address in this movie is that there are multiple things. Fertility rates, it's I remember when I was going through my marriage counseling class, and that was something they told us that, see, this thing is a blessing, right? It is not science, okay? It is, yes, there's some part of science that play into it, but it is God that literally gives children. You can be doing everything right, and it's not just going to happen. So let's take, for example, now the couple that had been married for 10 years, nothing was wrong with both of them. They had been trying and trying and trying. I haven't gone through it, so I can't say I understand how they feel, but in a way I sort of understand, because someone really, really, really dear and close to me went through something similar for 6 years, no child, and they tried everything possible and it just wasn't happening. I like that this movie really brought awareness to the different things that could be going wrong. Some people have PCOS, okay? PCOS is something that I know about as well, because someone really close to me has it. And I understand how difficult it was for that person to lose weight. So again, I think it calls on us as people to really be sensitive to others, okay? I know gone were the days where, I don't know, I believe it actually still happens, where people just expect that, oh, you're married, so produce children. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. There was even a scene where a man came to the hospital here, and he was talking to the doctor, shouting at her, saying, oh, I want a son, I want a son. I was just like, chill, calm down. The ability for a couple to bear a son is actually much more dependent on the man, right? Because he has the Y chromosomes, we have the X chromosomes. I don't want to go into scientific. This is something my doctor husband told me, by the way, and I did a little bit of research on it. It is more on the man rather than the woman. But there, this illiterate was yelling at the doctor, even went as far as saying, oh, you're not married, that's why you don't understand. I just feel like Nigerians, sometimes we have this degrading way we look at women, which needs to be checked. Like Nigerian men, you need to check yourself. Bear me a son. It is not the woman that chooses which one she's going to give you. We need things that help people prepare, because I feel we as women going into marriage, if you just got married, you need to also be mentally prepared and be prayerful about childbearing. It is not easy, especially when you go through multiple miscarriages. It is very, very easy to lose your faith in God, and that's why it's really important that you have a very good foundation and a deep understanding and a beautiful and ever evolving relationship with God, because there will be trials, there will be tribulations, and just because we're Christians does not mean nothing bad is ever going to happen to us. I've heard several times people say, oh, but I'm a Christian, why is bad things happening to us? Or if Christians are really Christians in this world and they are praying, why are bad things still happening in the world? For God, even when Jesus was on earth, bad things were still happening. Bad people still perpetrated their evil and they nailed him to the cross. But the good news is everything works together for our good. If Jesus didn't die, we would have not had our salvation. Okay, so that's something bad. That is something that God has turned around for our good. Now, I know it's also very difficult for us to understand when you lose a child or when you're not able to conceive that, oh my God, God is doing it for my good. It is very, 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 very difficult to comprehend. I understand that. And even God understands that. But the beautiful thing is, part of the fruits of the Holy Spirit, that God gives us patience. God is not going to give us something that we cannot handle or that we cannot manage. His grace is ever sufficient for us. I feel like I'm preaching at this point. This was supposed to be a review, but I just can't help myself. I really like the Christian aspect of this movie, how, you know, it really talked about all these things that are very, 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 very important. And I could go on and on about the lessons, but I don't want this video to be too long. So this brings me to the end of the review, where I'm going to rate this movie. Drum roll. What do you guys think I'm going to rate this movie? Well, I'm going to rate this movie a 5/10. And the reason being that the main thing that carried the movie is the fact that they shed light on very, very important and significant issues that people go through in life. And there was also a Christian message of waiting on God and, you know, enjoying the wait. Okay, it's difficult to do, but it is a privilege to wait on God. Other things that didn't work was the storytelling, the picture quality. It wasn't just enjoyable, and for those reasons, that's why I've given it a 5/10. Let me know what you thought about this movie. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until my next review, bye.